Welcome into 5 Wide. Today, debuting a brand new show. We're going to call it Props and Locks for NFL Week 18. No better time to debut than just a week before the NFL playoffs. If you guys are new to the channel, be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the video if you enjoyed, and of course, go check out our friends and partners over at BetFred. If you sign up, deposit $50, bet $50, you're going to get $111 in free bets. And then as well, for the next 4 weeks, you're going to get up to $1,000 in bet insurance, $200 a week, 50% of any games or any bets that you lose, you're going to get 50% back every week, up to $200. So we're all betting. If we're losing, and when we lose, which it does happen each and every week, they're going to be able to recover some of those losses. So go sign up. That link is down below. But week 18, a very interesting week, especially for the betting markets. Now, there's a few things you definitely need to consider. There's obviously the one of teams that are eliminated, teams that have things to play for, and then the one that nobody seems to stop talking about this week is player incentives. And I think you're going to hear me take a very different approach to what everybody else is taking with these player incentives. It has become a massive, massive talking point for sports bettors heading into this week. That information seems to just be widely available when it comes to player incentives. And I don't think this is something that a lot of people are going to be able to profit off of. The sportsbooks are aware of this kind of thing. I saw Barstool Sportsbook actually promoting, hey, here's some player incentives they need to player incentives that they have available to them and the yardages they need. Keep this in mind for Sunday, basically begging us to bet on these props. So I'll be taking a different approach to it here. But I got 3 plays. 2 of them were a little lighter on. One of them is my favorite. That one will be saved for last. Let's start on Saturday. I got 2 plays on Saturday, 2 props. Patrick Mahomes. His passing yards line listed at a ridiculous 325.5 yards. Crazy number here. One that he has cleared. Don't get me wrong, there's a guy who's cleared this number more than a few times this season. Has a matchup with the Raiders, who of course have not been a very good defense this year, but haven't been good against the pass or against the run. I think this is a spot where this line is extremely inflated due to this passing yards record that everybody has been talking about. If Mahomes gets to 430 passing yards against the Raiders, he will break the all-time single-season passing yards record held by Peyton Manning. That's a massive number. And this is a Chiefs team that has much more on their mind than breaking this record. Of course, the opportunity to claim the number 1 seed in the AFC. It's a number 1 seed that, of course, has its advantage of the bye. It may not have its advantage of an AFC title game hosting, just in case of the matchup. If you guys saw that news from the NFL. So this is a game for the Chiefs. Absolutely need to win. 9-point favorites in this matchup against the divisional opponent. Obviously, the Chiefs have not been able to cover these big numbers the last few weeks. I'm on the under 325.5 here. I think this is a far too high of a number for this matchup, and I don't think the books right now are seeing much action on this under, of course, because of that incentive. But what this, to me, when I look at this prop and this line, I see an opportunity here where Patrick Mahomes is going to struggle to be able to meet that 430-yard threshold. But more importantly, there's a chance here that he is sitting at some point in this game. The Chiefs have an opportunity to finally cover a double-digit spread against a Raiders team that potentially could be without Josh Jacobs as well. And I think that there's just far too big of a number for the chance that Mahomes could be sitting in a portion of this game if the Chiefs are leading by more than 2 touchdowns. So, Mahomes will play a part in getting them to that lead, but I think this is too big of a number in a matchup against a Raiders team that's very much putting the ball on the ground. Not a lot of plays to be had for either side. Of course, a divisional opponent that's familiar with this offense as well. So I'm going with the under here. I think the Raiders defense can do enough to keep this one below 325.5 passing yards. All right, second one here. This one I do like as well on Saturday. Staying in that prop department, there's a player in Zay Jones who has an incentive to meet that he could potentially meet this week in a matchup against the Titans. I believe he needs 92 receiving yards, or maybe it's 98 receiving yards to reach a bonus for the season. And his line tells us that this is one that a lot of people are paying attention to. His receiving line, make sure you're shopping around at some of the best books here to find the best line. It is listed at 58.5. This is the highest receiving line over under of his entire career. for Zay Jones. And he's coming off 2 matchups. He hasn't exceeded 25 receiving yards, back-to-back games prior to this. Things are moving in a direction with the Jaguars passing game where Evan Ingram has had a major, major part. And it's not, nothing shocking to me. The tight end position and the slot area is a spot that Trevor Lawrence in his entire career in the NFL as well in college has been very important to him. That's why Ingram's role has grown so much recently, and Zay Jones has taken a back seat to that. He hasn't had a target rate above 20% in the last 3 weeks. It's been below 20%. His target rate is down. His opportunities are down, and we still have this incredibly inflated line because, like I mentioned, everybody's aware that Zay Jones is chasing that number. But this is a matchup for me where the Jaguars have Zay Jones chasing a number. They have Christian Kirk looking for 91 receiving yards for an incentive. They have Evan Ingram who needs 50 yards for an incentive as well. And let's not forget, this team needs to win this football game to make the playoffs. So the last thing on Doug Peterson's mind is meeting these player incentives. It's about winning this matchup against the Titans, a Titans team that, because of the way they play, now without Ryan Tannehill, is a methodical, slow-paced game that doesn't have a lot of plays and opportunities for either team. But as well, they have a front with Jeffrey Simmons and Danico Autry that can wreck games at a moment's notice. So I think it's going to be very difficult for Trevor Lawrence without Cam Robinson now for the rest of the season to have enough time in the pocket to meet that outside receiver in Zay Jones. I like his under 58.5 receiving yards. I think this is way too inflated. Join me here and fade some of these incentive plays that a lot of people are going to be making that the books have definitely adjusted for this week. All right, last one. My favorite play this week. This will be a play that I'll have a full unit on. The other 2 will be for half a unit. Just, again, week 18, it's definitely a little bit more difficult with all these different scenarios and situations we have when it comes to motivation and strategy from these teams. But one that has treated bettors extremely well over the last, 30 years, I believe it is eliminated teams against teams that need a win. You think, team that's eliminated, nothing to play for. A team that needs a win, as in, if they want to make the postseason, they got to win this game. That team, a lot of people are thinking that team that's motivated and needs to win is going to win. Well, they don't cover spreads. Eliminated teams against teams that need to win are 96, 59, and 4 against the spread. That is good for 62% hit rate. So we're taking the Rams +6 against the Seahawks. There are a couple spots this week that this works for. I had the Browns last week against Washington that cashed. The Browns are in another matchup against Pittsburgh that they could potentially cash for you too. So if you want to attack all of these spots, you can certainly do that this week. But this has proven to be a very profitable formula. And what's even better in this particular game, I actually do think the Rams have a good advantage in these matchups, especially offensively. I could play as well their team total over 17.5. I've seen it at plus money at a couple of sports books as well, including BetFred. So you could definitely do that. But matchup offensively, I think is very good. The Rams have struggled to pass protect. The offensive line has, never been, or feels like it's never been the same the entire season. They're just injuries and whatnot are mixing and matching that line. But Seattle ranks 28th in pass rush grade, 24th in pressure rate. They don't have a talented front that generates pressure against opposing quarterbacks. I think that's going to help Baker Mayfield out plenty in this game. And then the even more important part for me in a Rams offense that, of course, is now down to Baker Mayfield at quarterback. Cam Akers has been a big part of that offense. Seattle 24th in EPA per rush, and they're 24th in rush DVOA. They have been terrible against the run. Running backs have been torching them. It's been great for you in fantasy leagues. They've definitely been a great matchup to target. I think Cam Akers has a big game here. I think this Rams offense has a big game. I love them to cover +6. I don't think they're ever going to be out of this game. And this number, if you're a Seahawks backer at -6, will ever be safe. So I love the Rams +6. Definitely a play you need to make this weekend. So those are my 3 favorite plays for NFL Week 18. Patrick Mahomes under 325.5 passing yards, Zay Jones under 58.5 receiving yards, and Rams +6. You can play all of these at the BetFred Sportsbook. It's going to be boosted. Look for the 5-wide boost in the boosted section at BetFred. These will be parlayed and boosted for you if you want to get in the action for NFL Week 18. The link to go sign up at BetFred is down below. Over $1,000 in bet credits that you can claim at BetFred, and they are now live in Ohio as the partner of the Cincinnati Bengals. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to like, subscribe as well, and we'll see you guys on the next one.